Happy. We married on a Wednesday in the summer of 1950, with Hester and her current beau as witnesses. I wore my best dress, and Hester loaned me a flowery, blue-enameled comb for my hair. The magistrate hurried us, the first of 4 couples he had to marry before lunch, and Tommy blushed when he said, "I did," instead of, "I do." I lifted up on my toes and kissed him lightly before I made my own vows, changing mine a bit, too. I do, and I will, always. I meant it, too, and the small body leaning against my skirt knew it. On what should have been our wedding night, a storm blew in from the ocean and took us all by surprise. Tommy left me in our little garage apartment so he could buy some milk and bread before the stores closed, and disappeared for 3 days. On the 4th, after I'd crisscrossed the county in Hester's coupe for 15 hours straight, I pulled off into a tobacco field and cried. Lucy found me there, in the dark, a gleaming hulk stepping out of the misty tree line like God himself had sent him. Maybe he had. Without a word, Lucy slid me across the seat and folded himself behind the wheel. "What did you do?" My first words to the angel I hadn't seen in years. "I will take you to him," was all he said. He laid his hand on the dashboard, and the radio crackled to life. "Local man claims missing time, if you can believe that. Says he doesn't know where he's been, and now he's asking for your help in finding his missing bride. You can't make this stuff up, folks. So if you've seen a jilted young—" Lucy thumped the dash, and the radio went silent. The heat I remembered from childhood rose off him in a great wave, and fresh tears flooded my cheeks. "Why?" I asked, a half-sob full of more than one simple question. In answer, Lucy started the engine. "He is waiting." I'd like to say that as I calmed down, I asked my real questions. Where had Tommy been? What did Lucy have to do with it? Why was he helping me after all these years? How had he found me, for God's sake? But the drive back to Wilmington was silent except for the roar of the engine and the wind across the convertible top. When we parked on the street, I didn't get out. Instead, I stared at the light in the tiny window above the garage door. The landlord's house was dark, as were most of the neighbors' homes. Lucy removed the key from the ignition and cupped my hands around it. "Go, child. He is distraught." "But does he love me?" "Do you love him?" I thought about that as I pressed the sharp edge of the key into my palm. Pain was like love, of a sort. I opened the car door and got out. "We deserve each other," I said. "He does love you," Lucy called after me. But when I turned around, he'd melted into the night. Tommy met me at the door, frantic to pull me into a deep embrace, and I let him. He kissed me, long and slow and sorrowfully, and we cried together. But I didn't ask him where he'd been. He had never kissed me like that before, and the hurt parts of me opened up to his gentle lips and warm tongue. No kiss could fix what was wrong in either of us, but it was enough, I realized, that he'd come back. It took longer to conceive than I'd expected, but whenever I'd worry, or Tommy would slip into silence, I'd feel a tiny hand on my arm, or fingers twine with mine, and I'd know it was all right. Sometimes Tommy would cry out with his nightmares, and sometimes I would, but we had each other, and a child we would one day meet. I thought about telling him. Wonder now if it would have made a difference. But I hoped, that I was enough. I wasn't. In our second year of marriage, Tommy gave me a gift. He'd crafted a small hinged box and filled it with little tubes of paint and 3 fine sable brushes. "I think you were meant to be an artist," he said. I loved my gift and tried to show him what I couldn't say, but he set me back with a small smile. His fingers brushed my freshly styled waves from my shoulder and trailed along my collarbone and down my arm to the simple white gold band on my left ring finger. "You deserve a better man," he said. "I deserve you," I told him. "I love you," I thought. I'm not whole," he whispered. I'm ashamed to admit that I glanced downward in confusion, and he turned away. I grabbed his arm then and spun him back to me and did my best to show him how much I loved him. But it wasn't enough. The next day, he disappeared again, and Lucy wasn't there to rescue him from his darkness. But you were there to rescue me. You both were, I suppose. That's what a mother should say, isn't it? All of her children should be equally loved. But I'm writing this so that you will know, somehow in some way know, the truth. And the truth is that it was you who rescued me. You were the steady white light growing warm and solid inside me. You kept me sane, kept me from screaming at the constant flickering tugs of the little lost one. It wasn't your sister's fault, and so I loved you both. Love you both. He would have loved you too. I'm so sorry I didn't tell him. I was afraid. Afraid to see his quiet, constant love turn into fear and hate. Because I knew he loved me. And I was afraid to lose the one person who did. He kept the world from dissolving around me, and I couldn't do that for him. I'm out of time now, my little son. Lucy will come soon. I know he will, although I don't know how he will know that tonight is the night. I know I can trust him with this, with you. He may keep you a little while, but he will take care of you. He was always kind, even with the lost ones. And once he's sure you're not, he will find a mother to love you. A better mother. Please don't ever feel that I didn't want you. I did. I do. Always. But I have to protect your sister. She's a lost one, my darling son, like your father was. And I can't fail her too. I put the pen down and closed the notebook Mother had given me all those years ago. Thunder rumbled, and a streak of lightning flashed in the window, but I took time to check on my sleeping infants. At 3 days old, my son was cherubic and healthy, but my daughter was fitful and wan, even in sleep. "Can you hear me, Lucy? Do I need to pray?" I sounded angry, sarcastic, hateful. I rifled through some sketches and tossed them across the notebook. The front door opened, and Lucy stepped in from the storm. His halo of blonde hair hung in dripping curls, and his shoulders filled the doorway. Without hesitation, he went to the bassinet and peered down. "Twins. I need your help." He looked up in surprise. "Anything. What do you need?" He strode to me and placed his great hands on either side of my face, like I'd seen him do to Janie all those years ago. "Are you in pain, young one? I'm so sorry that childbirth is so—" I jerked away, and then had to bite my tongue to keep from apologizing. He was hurt, genuinely hurt, and I would need to hurt him more. He deserved it. We both did. You did this. You did something to Tommy, and now my children don't have a father, and I can't do this on my own. Lucy watched me without blinking, and I worked myself into a rage to convince him. What's wrong with my son? What did you do? He frowned and went back to the bassinet. His large hands dipped down and rose with my little boy cupped in them like he was a precious gift. This child is healthy? Is he? No, he's not lost or sick. He's... I worked to turn angry tears into distraught ones. I don't know what he is. He looks just like Tommy, and I can't handle it. I can't. He's something I've never sensed before. He's different. I don't know how to explain it. Petering to sobs seemed effective, and Lucy held my baby closer, as if to protect him from me. What are you asking of me? Find him a home. Find him a home, and never come back. I was good at being hateful. He never looked twice at my daughter, merely wrapped my beautiful son in a soft blanket and gathered him to his chest. I scooped up my remaining child and cuddled her, kissing her forehead sweetly to show I could, to show Lucy I was calm now. He paused on the way out the door. I am to blame, he said. Allow yourself to love the girl as you should have been loved. It is never a child's fault. The rain had stopped, and a final clap of thunder announced that the storm had ended. My daughter squirmed restlessly in my arms, but my son slumbered peacefully in his. Just go, I said. My arms tightened as my baby flickered, slipping this way and that as she dreamed. Go, before my heart breaks. Go, before I scream. Should you ever need me, I will return to help you. We are always watching and listening. A warning, a promise. I know you're not an angel, I told him. What else could I be in your world? Lucy smiled, a sad, small twist of his lips, and left with my little son. The next day, my landlord knocked. An attorney had called for me and asked if I would please meet him that afternoon in his downtown office. Unsure what to do with my daughter, I brought her with me. It was a brief meeting, with perfunctory condolences for my husband and my father. The attorney was a bit flustered and apologized that the will had somehow been misplaced, but since it was found now and had been recorded properly after all, there was no harm done. He paused then and waited anxiously for me to agree. Of course, I assured him, and then stood to leave, but he stopped me. As it happens, Mrs. Parker, he modified his wishes quite substantially the day before his death. I don't care. I surprised myself by having said it out loud, but found that I felt better for it. But my dear. The attorney fingered his seersucker bow tie and took a deep breath. You are the sole inheritor of his assets, namely the house on Metz Avenue and the deposits in his 2 accounts. He glanced at Lisa May, whimpering in my arms, and worked up the courage to be blunt. Perhaps he wanted to be a better grandfather than he was able to be as a father. He smiled and pushed some paperwork toward me, and after a moment, I picked up the pen. I waited until after moving to complain aloud to Lucy, and the next day, he walked through the door of my childhood home. You did this, I said. He approached slowly, taking the time to peer into the bassinet first. "I did not kill him, if that is what you are insinuating." "How many times over the years have I told you to stay away, to leave me alone? And yet you always come." He frowned. "I care for you. I wanted to ease your life with your remaining child." An unexpected sob rose in my throat, and he reddened. "I wanted to help, that is all. It seemed the least that I could do." I forced myself forward and stared up at him. "I didn't know angels could forge wills." His great shoulders lifted slightly. "In many ways your father was unwell. Had he been of sound mind, his mind was fine. His soul was the problem. Or can angels not see that?" Lucy's mouth opened, then shut, and I knew if I was ever going to ask, the time had come. "How did you find me, Lucy? That night, at Miriam's. How did you find me?" He studied me until I was no longer sure I wanted the answer. Yet I asked again. "Was it the cat?" Even saying it was ridiculous, but he didn't laugh. Instead, he spoke a name, calmly and clearly. "Tommy." Now I knew I didn't want to hear. And still I asked, "What do you mean, Tommy? He didn't even live on our street. How could he—" Lucy caught me as my knees buckled and helped me to Father's old chair. It still smelled of him somehow, pungent with his cigarettes and hatred. "Tommy was sick," I whispered. "He woke as I was trying to help him. But instead of being fearful, he recognized me. He begged me to find you." Lucy swallowed and knelt before me, just as he had when I was little. "He had a gift, and he saved your life." "But he was a lost one. And then he wasn't." Lucy's head bowed, and I could feel the weight of his shame, but it was nothing next to my guilt. "What did you do to him?" A breathy, angry, fearful question. Lucy straightened and looked me in the eye. "I made him forget how to access his ability. I made him forget he ever had it." I felt my head shaking side to side, and his words slowed, pushing me gently to the truth he knew I couldn't bear. "In one way, I brought peace to his troubled mind, but you killed him. We killed him. I killed him." "No, child. The blame is mine." He clapped my hands in his and refused to let me go. "Sometimes humans can handle the loss of their gifts, but sometimes... His forehead dropped to our hands, and I studied his thick, white, blonde curls as if seeing him, really seeing him, for the first time. Not an angel. A monster. Except monsters didn't exist. Just cruel people and fallen angels. Lisa May cried out from the bassinet, her baby nightmare synchronized with mine. "How many?" I asked. "How many have I? Did we?" My words trailed away. What was left of my world was ashen and crumbling, and yet the bassinet supported my flickering lost child. And this chair, this putrid, horsehair-stuffed thing, was still solid beneath me. "You knew. All these years. We are trying to save this world, Madeline." Lucy's eyes were locked on me again, his hands hot and burning around mine. "I swear to you, May your God smote all of my kind with his holy might. I am trying to save your world." How had I ever thought his eyes were silver? They were simply gray. Not cold, though. They were gray, like rain streaking a window. I hated them. I hated him, too, as I hated myself. And I had no tears or anger left to show it. "I want you to leave and never come back," I told him. "I've earned the right to raise my child. I've paid with my soul." A sudden flush of that old familiar heat rushed from his body, but he merely stood and gave me a slow, tragic smile. And as the door closed behind him, a child's hand touched my wrist. Lisa May gurgled in her bassinet, a happy sound, the first in her short life. And I knew. There would be another lost child, and I would help her, though I had failed so many others. After all, who could understand better than me? I was a lost one, too. The end. Or the beginning. This family story continues with Madeline's granddaughter in Daughters of Men. This has been Forgetting the Lost by J. Martain, narrated by April Doty. Copyright 2023 by J. Martain. Production copyright 2024 by J. Martain.